Hey beautiful people, my name's Kristen. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today I have a book haul for you. These are books that I received for my birthday, which was the end of November / Christmas through December. So basically the last books that were acquired in 2023, and I'm trying to then sort all of my physical TBR books out and discern which ones are kind of prioritized for 2024. So let me show you what I got at the end of 23. I received this beautiful copy of Martin Luther by Eric Metaxas. It is the same author who wrote the book Bonhoeffer, which I have read and loved. I actually read that book twice, once for class and then once for my own enjoyment. I really thought it was a very well documented, well-rounded account of Bonhoeffer's life. So I look forward to learning more about Martin Luther, which, if I'm perfectly honest, what I know is that he tacked 95 theses on the church door. But I don't know a lot about his personal life or background or those kind of things. So I look forward to learning some of that. I think that will be a fun journey whenever I get to that. Now, sticking with the nonfiction books, I also received How to Be an Antiracist. This is a very popular, well talked about book, but I would love to read it and have my own opinions and thoughts and interactions with it. Not sure when I'm going to get to it because I've already kind of lined up the next ones I'm going to read, but I'm also tempted by this next one, which is How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith, which has also been widely talked about and appreciated. And I think this even goes into more background of the development of literature and words themselves, which I really, am fascinated by that and hope to get to these books. Then, also keeping with the nonfiction, I'm just showing all my nonfiction first. I got Running with Buffaloes. So this book, this is Chris Lear. Yeah, Chris Lear. And then this other one that doesn't have a jacket, so I'll just kind of briefly show it. This is The Essential Shihan by Dr. George Shihan. So both of these are like documentary style nonfiction books about running clubs and teams and coaching and those kind of things. So I really thoroughly didn't quite make the top 10, but it was up there in the top 20, was the 26 Marathons by Meb Koplevsky. So I really enjoyed that theme of running and endurance and team sports, and Boys in the Boat just came out and was a great movie and one of my all-time favorite books. So I look forward to reading both of those. Now, kind of moving into a classic, I got a W.E.B. Du Bois. This is a very thin short story of his. I did not know that it was this little. I just ordered it online. This was one of the ones that I did when I was ordering other things to be delivered for presents for other people, and I needed another few dollars to get free shipping, and so I threw this in. But I have the biography. Of Du Bois. So I was thinking, I don't actually have a physical book of his. So this is what I decided I was going to read while I read the biography. Don't know when I'm going to get to that, but hopefully sometime. I don't really know much about it beyond poetry that I would like to get to. I have my first Claire Keegan. I'm super excited to check her out. Walk the Blue Fields. This is a book set in Ireland, and I think it deals with some form of grief or getting over grief, but I don't know. I just know that I've wanted to get to Claire Keegan for a long time, and that's the one that I picked up, or had on my wish list and my boys bought for me, I should say. These are all gifts, but technically I wished them and then they've showed up. My son also bought me Waking Ursa Minor. This is a high fantasy book that got quite a bit of praise by 2 or 3 booktubers that I follow, and so I thought this is one that I might also enjoy. It had kind of, it sounded kind of fairy tale meets Lord of the Rings classic fantasy. So I thought it sounded really interesting, really good. And who knows when I'll get to that with all the other fantasy I'm reading, but it's now on my shelf and I'm excited about that. I also have the next installment of Anna James, The Book Wanderers. This one's the Lost Fairy Tales. So this is little girl Tilly who actually interacts with characters in books, and she gets sucked in sometimes to help with whatever the situation going on is. I read the first one with Nikki at Red Dot Reads and had such a great time with it. So now I was gifted the second one. I was also gifted The Echo of Old Books. This has something along the storyline of a woman who owns a rare bookshop, which in itself is a lovely premise, but she has a special ability that she actually somehow feels or interacts with previous owners of the books. Like if she picks up an old book, she gets glimpses into, I don't think the story, but the owner of the book. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out or what's going to happen with that, but sounds great. I mean, a book about books is usually a good place to start, right? Then I have If We Were Villains. This had been on my wish list for quite some time. I believe Susan at Road Reads first got this recommended onto my TBR hopefuls, and now here it is. I'm not remembering too much about it except for something about there were theater people. There were like theater students, and then a real murder or some sort of mystery happens, and so they are trying to not be the villains or the culprits or something of that nature. So I just love that kind of premise of theater and college students, and that just sounded fun. Now the rest of the book hauls are actually the Penguin cloth-bound classics that I collect. And I know really little about the ones that I got. I just wanted the beautiful copies, and I will read them because I do read them all. Oops, and I just dropped one. So the one that I do know about is the only one that I've actually read before, but I wanted for my collection, and that is Anna Karenina by Tolstoy. And so I actually read this, a different copy, obviously, but I read this on my honeymoon, which turned out to be really kind of comic because it's all about all these relationships that go sideways and bad. So I don't necessarily recommend it as a honeymoon read, but I am actually glad I did because it makes for a good story now. So I now have this beautiful Penguin cloth-bound classic. Next, I got The Lonely Londoners, Sam Selvin. I thought this was sorry about the sun. A very fun copy. On the Road by Jack Kerouac. Mustard, love the 70s mustard, so pretty. And then my youngest son got me Utopia, Thomas More. I'm assuming that this is the original mention of the word utopia, or where we get the origin of the kind of perfect society, but I could be wrong. And I just love what a beautiful copy of a book that is. So there you have it. Those are my final acquired books for 2023. Have you read any of these or think that you're excited for me to read any of them? Stay tuned. I'm going to do complete nonfiction, complete classic, complete fiction books on my TBR shelf, and we will see what's going to be read in what order in 2024. Hope that you are off to a great start in your new year, especially happy reading. Take care, y'all.